बोलो सियापति रामचंद्र की जय शरणम. Sitaram devotees, today once more as we join in devotions to that lotus-like feet of Bhagwan. Today we would enter into the glories of Sri Hanuman Chalisa once more as we do every week. As we would immerse ourselves in chanting, immerse ourselves into listening to the nectar-like katha, the nectar-like glory. Taking this knowledge, taking this information, apply it into our lives to help ourselves, to uplift ourselves rather, physically, mentally and spiritually. We join in the glories of Sri Hanuman Chalisa at this point in time. So I ask each and every one of you to join with us as we sing, we chant, we glorify the divine name of Hanumanji through these beautiful verses. Om अतुलित बलरामं हेमशैलावदेहं धनुजवन कृशानं ज्ञानिनामग्रगण्यं सकलगुणनिधानं वानराणामधीशं रघुपतिप्रियभक्तं वातजातं नमामि. श्रीगुरुचरण सरोज रज निजमन मुकुर सुधार बरनौ रघुवर विमल यश जोदायक फलचार बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार. जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम. ॐ अञ्जनीसुताय विद्महे वायुपुत्राय धीमहि तन्नो हनुमान प्रचोदयात्। बोलो सियापति रामचंद्र की। You can do better than that. बोलो पवन हनुमान की। So devotees, just like we do every week, this week we'll continue once more as we are going to enter these holy verses, understanding the meaning and the value that is contained within here. Last week we stopped. We are still at the beginning, right? We are trying to go as in depth as possible as we can. So we are still in the beginning verses. Last week we did Jai Hanuman Gyan Guna Sagar Jai Kapish Tihu Loka Ujagar, and we stopped there. Jai Hanuman Gyan Guna Sagar, victory to Hanuman, that one who's the ocean of Gyan and Guna, knowledge and virtues. But we went more in depth as we received more information there. That was just a recap, right? Jai Kapisa Tihuloka Ujagar. Victory to, well, I told you, when we refer to, we say Kapis or Kapish, we're saying the monkey king, but there's a deeper meaning hidden within that there, right? Kapi means that one who drinks from the spiritual illumination that brings joy. Ka and pi, right? Drink of that spiritual illumination. So Hanumanji is that one who have drunk of that spiritual illumination of the love and the devotion of Prabhu Shri Ram, which has taken him out of that state of being what we refer to as a monkey. The monkey represents the mind, right? So you want to get out of that state of having the monkey mind, that chanchal mind that is jumping from one thought to another, to another, to another. Surrender yourself in devotion to the lotus-like feet of Bhagwan. So Jai Kapisa Tihuloka Ujagar, that one who brings illumination to the three worlds. Now we have Ramaduta Atulita Bala Dhama Anjani Putra Pavanasuta Nama. Ramadut. Now if I really want to get into that, we can spend the entire night just on Ramadut alone, right? As we are all aware, Hanumanji is known as Param Bhakt. He is known as the greatest devotee of the Lord. In this case here, in this context, the greatest devotee of Prabhu Shri Ram. Ramadut, Dut translates to mean a servant. But when we say servant here, we're not referring to one like a maid servant. Not that anything is wrong with that. We're not referring like that, right, in that context. One who is in service as a devotee. That is a different type of service, right? When you come, you do service in the mandir, right? You make preparation in the mandir for puja and for havan and for satsang. You lay out the chairs, you pack back the chairs and all of these different things, right? You lay out the sheets and all of these things. You have puja, you have satsang at your home, you're making preparation, you're preparing the food, right? And prasad and all of these different things. That is service. That is service. The way, the efforts, the way that you apply yourself in devotion. Now I always tell that it's not just about in the mandir, it's not just about in the puja or in the satsang, but when you leave the mandir, when you leave the puja, when you leave the satsang, the service continues. Not so? The sacrifice must continue. We don't just do it in the moment here, but we take all that we have learned here, all that we have experienced here, we go back out into the world and we offer that to the world. That is how we grow. That is how we help society to grow. We help other individuals to grow. We want the world to become a better place. Hanumanji understands if he wants things to get better, it starts with who? It starts with you, it starts with me. No, it's for him, it starts with him.
The change doesn't start with Prabhu Shri Ram, the change starts with him. For Prabhu Shri Ram, the change starts with him. For me, the change starts with me. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Sri Satya Sai Baba says, Mahatma Gandhi also said, be the change you wish to see in the world. We say we want the world to change. We want things to get better. Things are in a bad state. Is that true? Which side are you looking at the world from? So Swamiji says a very important thing when it comes to the sun. I mentioned earlier to you that we have the tendency to always say that the sun is rising, right? Look at perspective, right? We have the tendency to always say that the sun is rising. I would wake up in the morning and I would offer jal to the sun when the sun is rising. The real question is, does the sun really rise? And does the sun really set? And the answer is no. The answer is no. The earth turns, and when the earth turns, whichever side is facing the sun, that is the side that it is going to see the sun. So for half a day on one side of the world, we are seeing sunlight. For another half of the world, when we call it night, they are seeing daylight. Because they have sun, they have light. We'll come to that shortly. So Surya Bhagwan, Surya Narayan Swami, the sun, he takes no rest because he's constantly shining and he's constantly bringing illumination to us. Right? We'll come back to him shortly. And I'm focusing a little bit on Surya Narayan Swami as well because he has a connection to Hanumanji, which you will hear about. Apart from that, as the sun is taking its transition into that northwards direction, into Makar Rasi, that is why I'm focusing a little bit on Surya Narayan Swami, right? But coming back to Ramadut. Ram is the Lord, and Dut, as I said, means servant. So Ramadut means that one who is the servant of the Lord. But in various places, Prabhu Shri Ram gives insight. One specific place in Uttarakhand of the Shri Ramcharitamanas, in Ram Gita, he speaks and he's speaking to the world, he's giving a speech and he speaks to the world, and there he's saying, Soi sevaka priya tama mama soi. He's giving instructions, and there he says in a short little line, he says, I give instructions, but those who listen to the instructions that are given, they take it, they put it into practice. Such an individual, the line says, such an individual would be near and dear to me. Priya means dear. Seva, servant as well, right? That individual, I hold them close to me, close to my heart. When Prabhu Shri Ram met with Hanumanji in Kishkinda forest, the first official meeting in the Ramayana, Hanumanji didn't recognize Prabhu Shri Ram, but that is a katha for another day. Nevertheless, Prabhu Shri Ram knew that that was Hanumanji. At the end of their conversation, when Hanumanji fell to the feet of Prabhu Shri Ram and offered salutation, prostration, right? He surrendered himself at the feet of Bhagwan. Prabhu Shri Ram lifted Hanumanji up and he held him close to his heart. The Lord is connected to the heart. I always say that, right? The Lord is connected to the heart. All the signs that you can possibly think about. Hanumanji opening his chest, Prabhu Shri Ram lifting Hanumanji and embracing him. The heart is significant. We must understand that we can also be embraced by Bhagwan, but we should not look for an outer embrace. We should not look for an embrace on the outside, for God to come in a physical form and walk up to us and look all nice, dressed with a crown and jewels and all sorts of things. That's what we picture sometimes, right? And come and embrace us. No. He must embrace you from within. That warmth of love is the embrace. That joy that rises from within your heart, that is where the embrace comes from. You want to be considered. Ramadut is a great thing here. You can't just be called Ramadut just so. You can't be called that just so. Right? You have to indeed execute, and you must possess certain characteristics and qualities. Execute your duty in a righteous manner. Right? So you want that embrace of Bhagwan, just like he embraces Hanumanji, you want him to embrace you. Just like the sun embraces us. Right? When you go out in the morning, early mornings, we go out in the morning, the sun, you feel that warmth on your face, across your body. It energizes you. Right? On the context of that, we offer jal, right? When you see, as I always say, I don't plan anything, I just allow the information to flow because as it comes, Bhagwan knows what you want to hear, right? When you're offering, we offer jal to the sun. We don't offer dhar to the sun, we offer jal to the sun, right? Jal and dhar is two different things. You can offer dhar, all around fine. Right? But there's a difference. Dhar and jal is two different things. Yeah? Dhar will consist of various items that you would put into a lota and you will offer. Right? Jal is water, as you all know. When we offer jal, we offer that for a specific reason. And I know that a lot of people are still not aware of that, right? Because people still confuse both of them. Right? When you're offering water and you're offering to the sun and you're asking for the darshan and the blessing of Surya Narayan Swami, you fill that lota with water and there's a specific way that is supposed to be done. You are supposed to lift it above your head and offer the water so that water drops, it falls in front of you. And as that water is trickling down in front of you, the rays of the sun will pass through the water. That energy, that vibration will then be transferred into you. That is done for a reason. Everything is done for a reason, right? But as I always say, we just have to find out the reason. So the next time you offer jal, I want you to remember that, right? I know it's a little bit off topic, but we're speaking about Surya Narayan Swami, so I just remember that, so I thought I'll share with you, right? So the next time you offer jal, you keep that in mind and you remember, understand that that is why you're doing it, right? So Hanumanji and Surya Narayan Swami, apart from being Ramaduta, Hanumanji has a connection with Surya Narayan Swami. It is said that Surya Devta, he is the guru of Hanumanji. Surya Devta is the one that imparted the knowledge of the Vedas and all of these different things, the Vedas, onto Hanumanji, giving him all the knowledge that he needs. So all the knowledge, the buddhi and the vidya and everything that is contained within the mind of Hanumanji, it came through the teachings from the Guru. Yeah? So, Prabhu Shri Ram is not the Guru. Prabhu Shri Ram is Bhagwan. He was devoted to Prabhu Shri Ram. But to become that devotee of the Lord, you first have to surrender and you have to submit yourself to the Guru. So it starts there. When we started Sri Hanuman Chalisa, the first doha in the beginning, the first line that I would have explained to you all, when Tulsidas started writing, did he say Jai Hanuman? Did he say Jai Shri Ram? No, what did he say? Sri Guru Charana Saroj Raja Nijamana Mukula Sudar. Right, and I explained this already. He said, with the dust of the lotus-like feet of the Guru, I cleanse the mirror of my mind. So to attain Bhagwan, to achieve Bhagwan, you have to surrender the Guru to be able to receive the knowledge first of all. You don't just come out of the womb of your mother and then you figure out everything, right? Sometimes you know everything. It's a learning process. We are all learning, right? It is said that you are never too old to learn and never too young to teach, right? So our entire life is a process of learning. When you think about it and think how vast this universe is, and by extension the multiverse, when you think how vast it is beyond your imagination. It is beyond anything that we can fathom, that we can understand, that we can ever realize. But yet sometimes we believe that we have come to a stop, an abrupt stop with our learning. Right? So Hanumanji at one point in time, before he knew that he needed to get the darshan of Prabhu Shri Ram and all of these things, he wanted that knowledge, he wanted that information, and therefore he sought out a guru. It is said in life that when you are ready, the guru will find you. One of my gurus told me that. Right? It says, when you are ready, the guru will find you. But how do you become ready? You have to be a seeker, you have to be a sadhak, a spiritual seeker. You have to be searching, you have to have a thirst for this information, you have to have a thirst for this knowledge. So Hanumanji was one such individual that had this thirst that needed to be quenched. Who had the answers, who had the information? Surya Bhagwan, Surya Narayan Swami. So Hanumanji went to Surya Devta and he asked, Suryaji, I want to receive your guidance. I want you to teach me. I want you to enlighten me on the knowledge that is contained within the Vedas, right? All of scripture is combined together, right? Puranas, Shastras, Itihas, Upanishads, all of that, everything is contained within the Vedas, right? That's where it starts, the 4 books, right? So he goes there and he asks for knowledge. But when he asks for knowledge now, Surya Narayan Swami says, well, Hanumanji, if I tell you, I don't really have time to teach. The half of the day, I'm shining on one side of the world. And the other half of the day, I'm shining on the other side of the world. Where am I going to get chance? Where am I going to get time to teach and enlighten you? I have to bring light to the entire universe. Hanumanji devotees, this is how much he wanted knowledge. Surya Narayan Swami says that I am here and I constantly, I'm moving with the world and whatever the case may be, I'm constantly in motion, I'm constantly working on all of these things. Hanumanji says, I will move with you in front of your chariot. I will remain suspended in the air in front of your chariot. You can narrate to me while you are performing your duties. I will listen. He says, well, Hanuman, I am the sun. The sun is very hot. It will scorch you. It will burn you and all of these things. Hanuman says, no problem. Is your thirst for knowledge and for wisdom that strong, devotees? That you are willing to go to any extent to receive knowledge and information, to grow, to develop yourself, to become better every single day of your life. I am really big on knowledge. I really believe in searching and seeking knowledge and reading and learning and educating yourself and then sharing that knowledge with people. Do you think like that? Are you in that space? Remember, as I said, I am never too old to learn, right? If not, I want you to take this into consideration. It is never too late to seek enlightenment. The Guru, Gu and Ru. Gu means the darkness of ignorance, the lack of knowledge, and Ru means one who is the remover, dispeller. It means light. So the Guru is that one who takes you out of the darkness of not knowing and puts you into that divine state of enlightenment and understanding. Guru. And as I always say, you have many different types of gurus in your life. So Guru doesn't only mean your godfather, right? Remember that. Doesn't only mean your godfather. That is your Diksha Guru. That's the one who initiated you into the path of Sanatana Dharma. You have Vidya Guru, one who imparts knowledge, Shiksha Guru, different type of teacher. You have various types of gurus in your life. Your mother, your father, your teachers in school. They all fulfill a specific role in your life. Nobody is supposed to be singled out. When Prabhu Shri Ram was upon the face of the earth, he would have had many gurus. Vishwamitra Muni, Vashishta Muni, right? Various different types of gurus. There are many others along the way as well. And that is Bhagwan incarnated in physical form. So where and when does the learning stop? Even till the end of that avatar, he would have had gurus alongside him, at his side. So, Surya Narayan Swami tells Hanumanji, he says, I will scorch you, right? Harm will come to you. And he says, it is not a problem. He says, no problem. I will bear this in order. That's the sacrifice I am willing to make in order to receive the knowledge. So Baba says, well, devotees, you must come to the mandir and thing, right? There is puja, there is satsang in the mandir. Baba, if I tell you, I can't make today, I'm real tired. Or you sit home and watch TV. Yes? Baba, the children have homework. And one thing after the next, right? Everybody has a life, yes, we understand that. But one thing after the next, right? Hanumanji doesn't say, well, I have homework to do. Well, I am busy. Well, I am tired. You want to become like him, I told you, right? In last week's session, I spoke to you about becoming like Hanumanji. That is the purpose of understanding the Devatas. Understanding their forms and what they represent. So that you strive to become like them. That is our goal. Salvation, liberation, right? Self-realization, to take ourselves to that state, to understand that we are divine spark expressing itself in human form. So then we say, okay, well, I'm going to the mandir. You go to the mandir now and you surrender to the Guru and you say, here's what. Well, I want knowledge. I'm telling you, that's how I ask. I go and ask. When I find that individual that I believe can give me the knowledge that I want, I sit down and I ask. I would like to receive your knowledge. Is that possible? It's as simple as that. Alright? So, you come and you surrender yourself to receive the knowledge from the Guru, and then when you come in the mandir, after you leave the mandir, sometimes we do not carry the information with us when we go home. We listen to the satsang on the radio or wherever we are listening to it, and we hear it in that moment, but the information does not stay in your mind. It doesn't stay in your mind. Hanumanji devotees, he would have received divine knowledge from Suryanarayan Swami. Receiving that knowledge, he became very, very wise and very, very, very learned. At the end of that journey of learning and getting that knowledge, Hanumanji wished to offer Guru Dakshina to Suryanarayan Swami. Right now, the thing about it is, this is where things get a little bit complicated or complex, if you want to call it, right? In different scriptures, there are different stories and different tales as to how Hanumanji would have given Guru Dakshina. There are many different versions. The most common one that is given is that Suryanarayan Swami's son, one of his sons was Shani Devta. Right? That's everybody's favorite, eh? Yeah? Shani Devta. Baba, check the book now. Siva Avagra. I feel Shani giving me trouble. Poor Shani, poor fella, we blame him all the time. Never ask ourselves, I wonder if it's me is the problem. I ask, I'm telling you. I wonder if it's me is the problem. Let me see what I can fix to become better. No. We always look for something externally to blame. We always look for someone else to put the blame on. Self-reflection, self-realization. So self-reflection leads to self-realization. It starts with you. It starts with fixing you. Hanumanji was fixing himself. He was not fixing Prabhu Shri Ram. He was not fixing Sita Devi. He was not fixing anybody else. He was fixing himself. He was uplifting himself. When he uplifted himself, he went into that state of being where he could have served the entire world. And today now, you hear about the tales and the glory of Hanumanji. You hear about his glory throughout the world. For thousands and thousands of years after the Sri Ramcharitamanas was written, the Hanuman Chalisa was written, we are still singing and chanting the glories of Hanumanji because he is immortal. What led to him reaching to that state? The knowledge, the information. So do not just listen to the information, you hear it and it remains right here. That's why I don't really like the word here, because here means when you get the information, it stays right here. It doesn't go anywhere else. You need to listen, and listening is a process, as I always say. It's like churning an ocean, right? That information comes in, and you start to churn that ocean, and you take out the bits and pieces that has value to you, and you apply it into your life. So I tell people, if you go to satsang, think about this, for example, right? We have 365 days a year. Right? Well, on average, based on whether it's a leap year or not, right? Out of that, say, for the entire year, you go to 25 to 50 satsangs. Just random figure. Right? We have 50 weeks, right? So say you go to 25 or 50 satsangs. And each satsang you go to, you take one thing that you learned. Not 5 things, not 10 things, not 100 things. One thing that you learn. You hear something here and it resonates with you, you take that one thing. And you carry it home with you. You analyze it, you interpret, and you apply it into your life. At the end of the year, devotees, would you be the same person? If you did that 25 to 50 times? You would not be the same person. You would have grown, you would have evolved. You would have taken yourself to a different level, physically, mentally, spiritually. It happens over a period of time with consistent effort. It's just like anything else. We don't bathe one day for the week. We don't sleep, hopefully not. We don't sleep one day for the week. Unless you're like me. We don't eat one day for the week. Why do we do it every single day, over and over and over? Repetition is important. Why do we chant the mantra and we do japa? Right? We chant the mantra over and over and over. Why don't we chant it one time? Jai Bhagwan. Elevate. Repetition. Repetition. You come into this world that is filled with Maya. When we come here, we lose ourselves. We forget who we really are. We forget that we are a spark of divinity. You seek refuge at the feet of the Guru, and the Guru gives you that information, that knowledge now, that starts to lift you up so that you can go into the embrace of the Lord. So that you can feel that warmth from within. The warmth does not come from the outside. When you feel joy and experience joy, where do you feel it? You feel it on the outside? It is expressed on the outside through your smile and these different things. But where do you feel it? You feel it on the inside. When you feel sad, where do you feel it? You feel sad on the outside? No. We express the sorrow on the outside, but we feel sad on the inside. Tabanka is a good example. The younger ones will know. Right? Feel sad on the inside. When you feel love, where do you feel it? You feel it on the inside. You express it on the outside. When you feel anger, where do you feel it? You feel it on the inside. In life, devotees, we have forgotten that everything is actually happening inside of us. We are so focused on the external world and everything that is on the outside that we cannot realize that everything that we need to achieve our goal in life as a human being, it is on the inside of us. Hanumanji going through this entire process. He was in search of Prabhu Shri Ram for a very long time. He was searching, he was seeking. We all know that. He was looking everywhere, here and everywhere. Ram, 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 Ram.
Jai Ram, Sri Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Jai Ram, Sri Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama.
Hanumanji was chanting continuously and he was searching everywhere and he was looking. Where is Ram? Where can I find my Prabhu Shri Ram? He searched for a very long time. He didn't just fall out of the sky and became Ramadut, even though he was an avatar, a direct avatar of Bhagwan Lord Shiva. Ekadas Rudra, the 11th incarnation of Lord Shiva. He didn't just fall out of the sky and, oh, I'm Bhagwan. No. We all go through the same process. But we all have the power of choice and we choose different paths. That is the difference. We all have the option. We all have the ability. There are people upon the face of the earth, right? I'm sure that most people are familiar with social media, or everybody, right, in this day and age. You see people, they have no limbs, but yet they are achieving things that you see people that have all their limbs intact. They have never even thought of doing in their entire life. Where is that power coming from? It is because they are a spark of divinity just as much as you are. The difference is they chose to make the most of that. They chose to see their obstacles and hurdles as opportunities rather than obstacles. In life, the smallest thing that happens to us, we complain. The littlest thing that happens. Everything for the entire day, we are always worried, we are always complaining, we are always living in fear. You will never become known as Ramadut or Hanuman Bhakta or whatever the case you wish to be referred as. How do you become that sevak? How do you become near and dear to the Lord? The answer is very simple. You take knowledge, you take information, you apply it into your life and you start your growth process. Ramaduta Atulita Bala Dhama. By surrendering himself to the Guru, receiving the knowledge, receiving the information, devotees, Hanumanji was able to become Ramadut. Coming back to the Guru Dakshana, now that he had to give to Suryanarayan Swami, Hanumanji requested and he said, well, I want to pay Guru Dakshana now because I've received the knowledge, the information. So he says, in what way can I serve you? In what way can I serve you? Suryanarayan Swami says he doesn't want anything, but eventually they come to a conclusion where Suryanarayan Swami says Shani Dev, who is his son, is trapped in Lanka. At one point in time, Ravana had conquered the Navagrahas, the planets, and he kept them trapped in Lanka. In some places it says that he used to actually walk on their backs. He put them in a place where they were like a staircase because he wanted to show his power over them, how he conquered them. Right? So he had them trapped. So Suryanarayan Swami asked, he says, Hanuman, I would like that at any point in time that you would go to Lanka, I want you to free my son Shani and I will consider my debt repaid. Eventually when Hanumanji crossed the 800 miles of ocean and he went into Lanka to retrieve news on Sita Devi, there he found Shani Dev. Now, it is said, when you look at Shani by getting a glance of him, that's why they tell you don't look at the eclipse, right? And stuff, and these different things, right? The eclipses are actually Rahu and Ketu. Solar eclipse and lunar eclipse, right? Rahu and Ketu. If you didn't know that, you know that now, right? But Shani is Saturn, basically. It's still a planet actually colliding with another planet, those different things, right? I'm not going to get into that drama, right? But nevertheless, Shani Devata, it is said by getting a glance that gaze, you would actually end up into a place where you would face a lot of difficulties in your life. When Hanumanji went to retrieve Shani Dev, he would have had the glance of Shani Dev. Therefore, the negative energies would have come upon Hanumanji. So, Shani Dev, he would have given a boon there to Hanumanji. And for rescuing him, basically from Lanka as well, he gave a boon to Hanumanji. And he said, Hanuman, anyone that worships you, I will never be able to. I want you to write this down and stick it up on your fridge and stick it up on your wall in your house all over. Yeah? You'll understand why it is that. Anybody that worships you, they can never be affected by me. I will never be able to affect them or have influence over them. There are two deities that received that specific vardhan, as Lord Ganesha and Hanumanji, right? From Shani Dev. Now, every day we were all praying, we were all chanting, Jai Hanuman Jnana Guna Sagar, Jai Kapishati Loko Jagat. Baba, check the book now, I feel Shani influence in there. Every day, flowers from here to down the road, mala from head to toe. Real chanting mantra prayer, big Talia Prasad, we real offering and Jagawin mantra and real praying. And I still feel Shani giving me trouble, you know. Isn't that ironic? I want you to think about it for a second. Think about it for a second. So where's the problem? Is the problem with Shani or is the problem with you now? I want you to bring back your focus there. Is the problem with Shani or the problem lies somewhere right here? You need to find it, you need to fix it and move forward. In life, my goal and my duty, I believe, my sole purpose is to uplift people by sharing knowledge, right? Impacting, empowering, and enriching the lives of as many people as possible through knowledge, through information. Devotees, I'm giving you the information. It's up to you to take the information and uplift yourself. So, Hanumanji receiving that darshan, receiving that blessing there of Shani Dev, we come back to that line, Ramadut Atulita Bala Dhama. Being known now as that devotee, that servant, that sevak, that ne and their devotee, Raghupati Priya Bhaktam. That's one of the names that is given to Hanumanji. He is known as the nearest, the dearest, and the most loved devotee of Prabhu Shri Ram. Most loved. Kya baat hai? Right? Atulita Bala Dhama. Because of that now, he became Atulita Bala Dhama. that storehouse of immeasurable power, strength. When we talk about strength and we talk about power, devotees, strength and power does not just lie in the physical. Again, I want you to think about that. You can have mental strength. You can have emotional strength. Correct? You can have spiritual strength. Strength comes from all avenues. It doesn't just represent physical strength alone. So you pray to Hanumanji. You hear in the beginning of Hanuman Chalisa, Bal Buddhi Vidya Dehuhi. O Hanuman, bestow upon me Bal, which is strength, Buddhi, which is intellect or wisdom, and Vidya, which is knowledge. You worship and you glorify that name. It doesn't just have to be Hanumanji, you know. Any one of the Devatas, because they are all sparks of that same supreme being manifested upon the face of the earth. Each and every form. Sparks of the same supreme effulgence that is manifested. So any form you take and you try to connect with God through, you serve, you pay reverence to, you offer your love, you offer your devotion, you will be able to enter into that embrace where you'll be considered a servant of the Lord. And who has to make that decision for you? Who has to judge that for you? Nobody doesn't have to judge that. As a matter of fact, God doesn't even judge anybody. So get out of that as well, right? God doesn't judge anybody. You know why? As I always say, and I conclude with, we are all sparks of that same divine supreme Lord manifested in human form. So who is going to judge who? Are we going to judge ourselves? Each and every one of us, we are a spark of Him manifested in human form. That is why our goal upon the face of the earth is to go back into that state to realizing who you truly are. That you are divinity expressed in itself. You are not a human being. You are a spiritual being, a divine being having a human experience. Bolo Syapati Ramachandra ki jai. Devotees, we all join at this point in time after the Kathari. I hope at this point in time that with faith, with love and devotion, you all will join with me. Let's clap, let's sing, let's chant together with faith, love and devotion, right? Because if I sing, I am singing for the Lord. I'm not singing for you or on their behalf, right? If you want the darshan of the Lord, you need to chant as well. Clap, lift your hands and clap and help. Let's create that vibration, that energy in the atmosphere. Jai Kapisha, Jai Jai Kapisha, Jai Jai Kapisha Hanumanta.
चिरा